like I said, we just bought this. The nonprofit just bought this in April, and so it's like there was nothing here. There was an old trailer mobile home that had been here for a long time, and we literally, John and I and a bunch of other guys, we chainsawed our way back into this property that's been abandoned for a long time. So when I named the mountain in 2018, we always were like, we need something more than, as you saw on that road, there's nowhere to stop and park. So for years, we've just been parking in a little tiny turnout.
Oh my gosh.
And departing, hiking from there.
Oh my goodness.
And so where you stopped to use the bathroom or whatever, we would meet there and we would go, we're not going to make it. So you 5 get into his truck, and so we solved that problem by buying this. This is 45 acres of land, and we're going to develop it here. Hopefully where that flag is standing. Not everybody that can climb that mountain. You'll see, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you or sugarcoat it. It's a tough climb, but 1,100 have done it. But we like to call this section the silencer. I like it.
5-year-old did it?
Yeah, his dad had just died.
70.
School. Yeah, and then we took some 70-year-olds. So, what we found, and in our gold stars that climb with us, is as tough as this may be, the load that you guys carry, that our gold stars carry on their back, pales in comparison to how tough this mountain is. So, anyways, it's a tough one, but our gold stars absolutely have shown some incredible resiliency and just powering through it and getting up there. My last deployment in the Army, before I retired in Iraq, I had 4 of my guys, horrible day. 1 was killed instantly and 4 others were taken prisoners. And after they were taken prisoners, they were taken out into the desert, and we were taken after them, trying to catch them, and couldn't get there in time, but the 4 of them were taken out of the vehicles and all 4 of them were executed. So for me, that was, I had already reached the pinnacle of my career. I'm like, I'm done. This is no longer too much fun. I guess you get horrible. So came back here and I found myself up on POW MIA because I awarded those families the Prisoner of War Medal. And so I found myself up there all the time, you know, honoring my guys that I lost, and at the same time I knew I had to do some more for our gold stars. So, you know, it's a little bit selfish for me because I had some, you know, my own personal gold stars, but during that deployment we lost 53 in my 15 months of combat, and so it was a absolute horrible deployment right in the middle of the surge and some of the toughest fighting that our nation has endured for a long time. So I started out to do something more for them, and I knew it had to be connected, it had to be close. It wouldn't make any sense to name it somewhere else, and so I wanted to make it right next to POW MIA, and so I started the process, which, you know, just a bunch of paperwork and meetings and briefings and presentations and why and all that other stuff, and I told the story, and our nation, our country responded and said absolutely. So in February of 2018, February 8th, I shot back to DC, and I got to participate in just witness the voting, and it was approved. And so at that point, that was February 2018, the phone just started ringing, and emails and gold stars from all over the country started calling saying, we want to come, how do we do it? And I just said, you come to Alaska and we'll take you up the mountain. And so that's what we've done, 1,100 to date, and that's 3 summers of climbing. We don't do it year round. And so we pack it into May to September, a little bit October sometimes. Talking about what?
Nick, my late husband,
right.
Always on the table. So he and I are from Lexington, both of us, but we'd never met until he was already in the Marine Corps and I was in college, and he was just home on leave one weekend, and we met at a party, a mutual friends party, and just hit it off. Started dating long distance, and I was getting ready to graduate college a semester early, so I did, and then we got married in January of 2004, and did a honeymoon, drove across country back to Camp Pendleton where he was stationed out of. And at that point we knew that he was going to be redeployed to Iraq.
Right.
But good news, he was only 6 months shy of getting out of the military altogether.
Oh.
So he is, whatever they call it, what's the date, the discharge date? Yeah, thank you. That was October 2004. So when he was redeployed in February, I packed up our stuff, drove back home, because I knew that his last deal was just going to be come home, get out, go back to Kentucky. And then in April, on April 8th, 2004, at midnight, there was a knock at my door. And of course it was the KCO officer there to tell me. But they were looking for me in California because we hadn't updated our paperwork. And so they were bumping up against that 24-hour time mark that they have to alert the family. So they didn't have many details, didn't know how or any of the questions that Forster had. They did not know the answers to at that time. But so here I was, 22, married for 3 months, and now a widow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
And that it's something that nobody ever expects is going to happen to them.
yeah.
But so we turn our grief around a little bit. And Nick was the first in Fayette County in Lexington to lose his life in the war. So I mean, just the pouring of support from the community was amazing. And we started a nonprofit in his honor, Corporal Nicolas Dieruf Memorial Fund, that wanted to help Marine families. We can keep walking.
I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
For a minute.
That helps Marine families in the Bluegrass area. And so that was kind of our initial thought, and people just donated and donated and donated. I mean, we raised like $17,000 without even thinking, right? But then we discovered this other nonprofit that was Kentucky-based out of Fort Knox called USA Cares. And their mission was identical to ours, except they wanted to help military families in the Kentucky, Indiana area.
Okay.
Initially, and then it grew globally to help military families everywhere. So a buddy of my dad's was like, listen, I know where your heart is, but let's not reinvent the wheel here. There's already a nonprofit that's doing exactly what you all want to do. Maybe y'all can join forces. So begrudgingly, I went to that meeting and I was like, Nick's name is way too important. We're not doing this. But couldn't help but fall in love with the founders of that organization. And we ended up joining forces with them, and now Nick's fund is the endowment to USA Cares, which is still a thriving nonprofit.
That's awesome.
That has helped military members in all 50 states and several countries, and they help with like quality of life issues. So if dad's deployed and mom's home holding the fort down and the roof needs repairing, they'll get it done, that kind of thing.
have people come up and talk and maybe give a prayer or something like that. But the one thing that she said, she brought a bunch of little bottles of Jack Daniels and said that he loved Jack Daniels and loved to always toast something. But in her toast, she said that we're never above you, never below you, and always beside you. And then she hung the tag on the tower. So for you, thought the same thing was fitting. And here's this tag. You're welcome. And you can. There's no rhyme or reason as to where the tags are. Some people have said he was born in January or something, so they're clicking on the first tag. But others have said put it together with the group that were lost in the same incident. There's a lot of groups that were lost together, but it's your call. We're just going to make sure we document where we put it. So when you call me in a year or something like that and say, can you send me an update of what the tag looks like, I know where to find it.
Okay.
So
Okay. Only because when I first came up here, the first ones I saw were other marine tags, also right around 2004 in March and April. So I'll stick it right in here where those are. Actually, there's a photo of me holding that dog tag and crying, and that was on the cover of the LA Times.